Well, good morning, everybody. I'm experimenting with these microphones, so I don't know. I hope it works. But anyways, there's been just a lot of things going on in the world, and bombing Iran. There's a lot of people. They make a lot of movies these days about worshiping the wrong type of things. And what do I really want to say about that? I want us all to live in peace. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this country that worship guns and violence instead of like helping people, helping their communities. What are you going to say to that? I used to be pissed off that I wasn't old enough to go to the Vietnam War with my dad. I wanted to fight alongside him. And then when I got to put on my own uniform and engage people firsthand in the drug war in Mexico and just saw all the violence that went along with it, I stopped worshiping it. The first gunfight that I ever got to see, there was 4 beheaded people. And one of them was a woman, and that's never going to leave me. And there's so much going on in our country right now as far as, how do you even say this? They want to talk about Russian collusion, Chinese infiltration of spies taking our plans for F-16s and F-18s. But no one wants to talk about AIPAC buying all of our politicians. Literally every politician sitting in Congress or even the White House right now is taking AIPAC money. When is this going to be our country again? You have ICE people running around with no mask, no badge, kidnapping people or arresting people, whatever you're twisted on it is. But they're not presenting who they are. They're not backing up any personally identifying information. There's people that be like, well, they need to be protected. Yeah, you need to be protected if you're confronting drug cartels or something like that, and they're going to smoke your family. I get it. I totally get it. But that's not what you got. You have small town police picking up Chepe from Home Depot who came here to try to make $60 a day. And they're covering up their face and stuff like that. That's not America. And on top of it, gringos and Mexicans, for the most part, have lived in this country going back centuries before it was even a country. My family has. My family's white. Grew up farming. So a lot of this stuff, they just try to constantly pit everybody against everybody. But this is our country, and now they want to start selling off our country to the highest bidder. And this big, beautiful bill, everything's about advancing government control and surveillance, and without privacy, there is no freedom. And what do you mean by that? Well, if you don't have anything to hide, I got lots to hide, like the intimacy with my wife, personal conversations at work, trade secrets. I put it down so you can't see it, but my lanyard from work. I'm not some like crazy guy. I go to work. I work all the time. I work 2 full-time jobs. I study on top of it. I'm pursuing a bachelor's in cybersecurity. I've been to school for other stuff, law, amongst other things, but I'm not crazy. I'm faithful to my wife. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that stuff. Sweating a little bit because I hiked a couple miles up here because I just wanted to get away from everybody. And there's some other people out here and out and about, but mostly I'm alone. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you about what we could even do about all of this, We sit here. I hope it's still recording. I'm going to record this, and if it drops off, it drops off. But the biggest thing that I think that we can do on a personal level, because we don't get any say-so in our government. You can act like we do, but we don't. everything is kabuki theater, including the media. I go online and I've got a lot of experience, for example, with the drug war. Doing a show here next week on it, finally. But I see what passes as media online, and I've been talking about this for a long time. Originally, I started this channel because of Ed Calderonini. And just everything seems to be spiraling out of control in the world, to where the cartel at this point is small potatoes, if you can believe that. And that's just crazy that it could be that far out of control, you know. What can we do? Hold fast to our principles. You know, one time my grandfather was a big burly man, and my stepdad, he used to beat me all the time. One time my grandfather picked up a large wooden table that he had made out of lumber, and he threw it at my stepdad. And he was waiting for my stepdad to respond. He said, "What are you, a man or a mouse?" And I'm going to be honest, growing up, I wasn't always the bravest person. You know, I was afraid of a lot of things growing up. I was beaten growing up by my stepdad. I'm not going to say I was bullied in school, because I did fight, but I mean, you know, when you grow up around gangs and stuff like that, you're not always going to be in the numerical majority. You know, there's going to be people that gang up on you, and you're going to fight, and you're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot. And then plus, there's just other things that have gone on in my life. And when my grandfather told my stepdad that, "Are you a man or a mouse?" Growing up into become a man of myself, and you too, probably, at some point in time, you have to figure out whether or not you're going to live a life directed by your principles and stand up for what you believe in or not. You know, it's really that simple. And our God, whatever deity you worship, puts us here on this earth to figure out whether or not we're going to stand up for the right thing when the time comes, when it's not easy, when it costs us something personally. And when I went to Mexico, I made up my mind that I was going to stand up for kids given drugs by Mexico, even at the cost of my own life. And I meant it. I totally meant it. I also have been a little bit more aggressive about it than I should have been, maybe, as far as like the words and some of the things that I've said that are off color, you know. And I've made off color remarks throughout my life. You know, I have lots to learn. I have not lived a perfect life. Bombing Iran, I disagree with it. It wasn't done because it was of national interest to the United States, or otherwise we would have done this previous to Iran bombing, or Israel bombing Iran, excuse me. So it wasn't something that was done out of national interest. It was done out of the fact that Netanyahu owns Trump, AIPAC owns Trump, Israel owns Trump, and it's not anti-Semitic to say it. We have our own national interest here, and our national interests are not those of Israel. And I don't care if I get flack over that or not. My flag doesn't have a Star of David on it. My flag does not represent a certain religion. And if it did represent a certain religion, it would represent the religion of Christianity. And, you know, I think that we should be peaceful, but I also think that we should defend ourselves. And when we have people endangering our community and stuff like that, we should start stepping up and saying something, even at the cost of our own freedom. You know, we're spiraling into a country that now allows people with no badge, no mask, to whisk away people without knowing any of their credentials, where they're going, what they're doing, or even if they're a citizen or not. It started with the Padilla case going way back when. Padilla was ultimately convicted of things, but they kept him in a Navy brig for 3 years without any charges, suspending habeas corpus and posse comitatus, with the military stepping in and doing law enforcement, both of which are completely against what the Constitution states. But here we are allowing it, and some people are even cheerleading it. And then the people that want to applaud violence, I'm finding that more often than they're one of two different groups of people. They're either people that have never been violent in their life and know nothing about it and want to live vicariously through the lives of someone else and dish out their frustrations on people that they don't even know, or they're people that are sociopathic or psychopathic to get off on having power and control over others, and neither one of them should be anywhere near violence. And I'm completely against it. You know, we all work really hard in this country to have nice things. And I've lived in other countries where it's not this nice. And now I'm watching my country being attacked internally from politicians on both sides. It's not a right or a left thing. And I don't have any problem against anybody in their skin color or anybody that comes to this country to try to make a better life. I've seen enough in third world countries to where, I've been in Russia, and there's villages in Russia that don't even have running water or electricity, and it's a nuclear superpower. That's a fact. And I've been in other places where they don't have internet, they don't have cell phones, they don't even have food. They barely have rice and tortillas. And I'm not belittling anybody in their national origin or their creed. I'm just saying that the way that it is in this country, so many people have been spoiled so long with so much that they just really don't have a clue of what it's like for people in other countries. And if they did, and if they had any humanity, they would be okay with someone selling oranges on the corner, trying to live a better life. As far as bombing Iran, they've had that border open for so long and student visas for so long in this country that who knows how many people are sitting around waiting to conduct violence or some psyop or red flag event done by our own country. And it's proven. They've got the Woodlawn or whatever it was where they wanted to start a war with Cuba or justify starting a war with Cuba. 4 generals and a Navy admiral admitting publicly that they were planning on killing American civilians in order to justify a war with Cuba. So don't tell me that the United States government's on our side, because it's not. They won't even declassify who killed JFK 65 years later. So, I mean, I'm not out of bounds, and I'm not some conspiracy theorist. I'm very logical, very level-headed, not emotional. Have a wife that I'm faithful to, financially responsible, don't need anything, don't monetize my videos. And I think that we all ought to take a sober look at where we're going as a country. I just, I want the best for you, because the best for you is also the best for me if you're living in my country. Whether you're brown, whether you're black, whether you're Oriental, whether you're another white person, whether you're right or left, what's good for you is also good for me, because if we can live in peace and prosper as a society, and then I don't even want to get into the whole artificial intelligence and mass unemployment thing. The billionaires, Elon and the rest of them, they're not on our side. They're on their side. They build their own bunkers. As far as staying physically fit and living true to your principles, I'm going to button this up in a little bit. Follow the commandments that your God gave you. It's pretty simple. Try to better yourself to where you're capable of doing something other than carrying a weapon, because people don't need to be kept safe and secure. They need your help to better their life by being able to offer them a product that they need to promote their own wealth and well-being, by being able to offer them a healthcare service that they can use to keep themselves or their loved ones well. That's what benefits society. Not carrying 12 pounds around your neck with 100 rounds and magazines. That's not keeping people bettering their existence. They can do that for themselves. Can you cure cancer? Let's start teaching our kids to worship the right things and not some computer screen. Giving our kids a path to know their own creator, their own spiritual God, however you want to phrase it, and the voice that aligns with their own conscience. The Bible or whatever. If the Bible never existed, we would still know the difference from right and wrong. That's something that we innately know, unless you're damaged sociopathically or psychopathically. You know what you should and shouldn't do. And bombing people in another country, even if they don't like us, even if they have their own freedom of speech, we've never been hit with a nuclear weapon by the Soviet Union. And if Iran did have nuclear weapons, and I would be surprised if they didn't, to be honest, with their relationship with the Soviet Union over all these years since the 70s, I would be surprised if Iran did not have Soviet nuclear weapons that they'd purchased from either North Korea or Russia. So I would be surprised if they didn't, and we're over there bombing them when they haven't bombed us at all since the 70s or even before. However, the people that are purchasing our politicians, they've bombed USS Liberty. They've done things. They've cheered 9/11. So, I mean, there comes a point in time when you need to start looking at what's what. You know, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to go work out, go train, buy some food, buy basic foodstuffs, first aid, and prep up, because in the end of the day, whoever's watching this video, I trust you infinitely more than I trust my own government. And that's really the truth of it, because I trust the innate goodness of people. And being primarily a libertarian, one of our biggest planks is the plank of nonviolence. I'm big on that, huge. I'm also big on being able to defend yourself and be prepared. So, hey man, God bless. I'll see you. I'm doing this show next week, and we'll see what comes of that. But cheers, man. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.